We are ranking all 9 Demon Slayer pillars from weakest to strongest. Do you know how strong your favorite pillar is? In this list, I'm going to compare their physical abilities and their unique skills to how they performed in the final fights versus the Upper Moons and Muzan. I spent hours watching the anime and reading the manga to provide you the most accurate and fact-based ranking of the Demon Slayer pillars. Don't miss a second of this video. In 9th place we have the insect pillar, Ocho Shinobu. She's the weakest pillar because her physical strength does not allow her to be head demon. As an alternative, she created the insect breathing by using Wisteria poison and powerful thrust techniques. But her fighting style is inefficient versus the Upper Moons, as their regeneration is on a complete other level. Even though she managed to hold her own versus Doma with her speed and agility, she couldn't do anything to kill him. She had to use a last resort tactic and sacrifice herself by getting devoured. Her plan was to deliver her whole body's worth of 37 kilograms of poison and destroy Doma from the inside. This led to the Upper Moon's downfall, as he started to melt during the fight against Inosuke and Kanao. She's not weak though. Shinobu defeated the Upper Moon too with the help of 2 pillar level Demon Slayers, but she died while fighting. She also played her part in the fight against Muzan, as she helped Tamayo create an anti-Kibusiji drug with her poison knowledge. It proved to be a critical win condition, as it inflicted a massive nerf on Muzan's body and abilities. Without Shinobu's help, the Demon Slayers would not have been able to fight him at full power. In 8th place we have the sound pillar, Uzui Tengen. He's a badass ninja who created his own flamboyant breathing style, based on his acute hearing, his musical score technique, and his shinobi training. Tengen's true strength is his acute hearing, as he developed several abilities with it. The most unique one is the musical score. It allows him to read his enemies like a music sheet, by analyzing their rhythm while in combat. He's able to understand and predict his opponent's moves, which gives him a huge advantage over them. Even without his left hand, he was able to fight toe-to-toe with Gyutaro after he finished analyzing him. This technique's only weakness is that it takes a long time to complete. His shinobi training grants him poison and pain resistance, 2 valuable assets in the fight against Gyutaro, as he could withstand the Upper Moon's deadly poison and still fight when he lost an arm and an eye. While his physical abilities are excellent, he's rather lacking in terms of breathing technique. He lost a 1v1 to Gyutaro, and still needed the assistance of Tanjiro and his friends to beat Upper Moon 6. Also, he would have died from poison if Nezuko didn't help him at the last second. The whole district was completely destroyed, and Tengen was so damaged that he had to retire after this fight. In 7th place we have Kandoji Mitsuri, the love pillar. Even though she developed the Demon Slayer mark, I think she's still a little weaker than her mentor, Rengoku Kyojuro. She's one of the newest pillars and lacks his experience. I'll come back to this point later in the video. She used to learn the flame breathing, but she created the love breathing instead to suit her style. Her enhanced flexibility is Mitsuri's greatest strength. It allows her to move in a very distinctive style, as well as striking in unusual and creative ways with her unique katana. She was born with muscles 8 times denser than those of an average human, giving her so much strength that she was able to rip off one of Muzan's arms barehanded. What? What the fuck? During her fight versus Upper Moon 4, she developed the Demon Slayer mark. It allowed her to keep up with Zohakuten's most powerful attacks and managed to stall him until sunrise. But without the help of Tanjiro and his friends, she would have died, because Zohakuten cannot be defeated while Hatengu is still alive. Though it wouldn't be fair to say that she completely lost the fight, because her job was to tank him so the others could behead the main body. During the Infinity Castle battle, he faces the new Upper Moon 4, Nakime. She had little success because she could not land a blow on her. Mitsuri was the first pillar to get knocked out by Muzan. She came back at the end and saved Tanjiro before dying from her injuries. Up next we have the flame pillar, Rengoku Kyojuro in 6th place. Kyojuro deserves a lot of credit after his fight against Akaza in the Infinity Train arc. He mastered the flame breathing alone after his father retired from the Demon Slayers. His sixth sense is his true strength. In combat, he's able to sense his opponent's bloodlust and knows when they will strike. Combined with his super fast reflexes, he was able to impress Akaza. Kyojuro displayed an insane amount of stamina, as right before this encounter, he protected 5 targets by himself from Lower Moon 1. Then he fought Akaza until dawn, suffering many injuries during the fight until receiving a fatal blow. Kyojuro's pain resistance and his willpower allowed him to make one last attack on Upper Moon 3 while the sun was rising. Finally, he possessed such incredible strength that even Akaza was surprised he could block his attack with only one arm. There were no other victims that night, despite an upper and a lower moon attack on a train full of passengers. This feat is proof of his determination to protect people, whatever it takes. Though he was not able to beat Akaza, his death has inspired all the remaining Demon Slayers to fight courageously until the end. To put things in perspective, it is stated that there needs to be 2 or 3 Hashiras in order to beat the top 3 Upper Moons. These are much stronger than the others, and that's why Kyojuro's fight versus Akaza is impressive. Even though he was not at full power, Upper Moon 3 was still very close to being burned by the sunlight, and that's quite a feat. That's why Kyojuro deserves this rank, as he did that with no power-up. In 5th place we have the Mist Pillar, Tokito Muichiro. At only 14 years old, he mastered the mist breathing and became a pillar in only 2 months. He is extremely talented and was able to fight the Upper Moon 5 in Gyokko. Muichiro managed to deflect all of his attacks and escape his bubble prison. At this moment, Muichiro's most important strength has reawoken. His rage towards demons is the source of his willpower, as they are the reason why his brother got killed. After developing the Demon Slayer mark, Muichiro used a creative breathing technique to disorient Gyoko, and behead him faster than he could react. The Mist Pillar has much less success during the Kokushibo fight, as he is quickly overwhelmed by the demon and loses his left arm almost immediately. Then he gets stabbed in the shoulder, and gets pinned into a pillar. He managed to continue the fight, and use the Demon Slayer mark and the transparent world to get close to Kokushibo, but got his leg severed while stabbing him. Then the Upper Moon One unleashed a devastating attack, and cut Muichiro in half. Before dying, he gripped his sword so hard the blade turned red, dealing huge damage to the demon. Muichiro is the pillar who suffers the most gruesome injuries in the entire series. Muichiro played a critical role in Kokushibo's defeat, as he allowed his allies to land a decisive hit and behead him. I believe Muichiro could have become the strongest pillar if he was a little older, as he had a huge potential, but lacked experience. Next we have the Serpent Pillar, Iguro Obanai, in 4th place. I understand that you would place Muichiro over Obanai, but his overall impact in the final arc was greater. Sure, he did not have a real fight against an Upper Moon before Muzan's battle, but he did surprisingly well against him. Do you agree or disagree with my ranking so far? Leave a comment about what you think. Obanai lacks physical strength and is partially blind in his right eye. He was born into an abusive family that was corrupted by a demon. He met his pet snake, Kabura-maru, and escaped his home. It became his greatest strength, as Obanai created a whole new breathing style by using his pet into his techniques. He imitates snake behaviors and attacks, allowing him to fight in very unusual and surprising ways. His snake buddy Kabura-maru is very intelligent, as it can understand humans and communicate with them. But most importantly, it's able to read and predict someone's attacks, giving the Serpent Pillar a huge advantage in combat. Even after getting his eyes clawed out by Muzan, he's still able to fight thanks to Kabura-maru's special ability. Obanai's reflexes allowed him to dodge Muzan's whips and even hit him without using the Demon Slayer mark, which he develops later in the fight. He briefly managed to use the transparent world and saw Muzan's weak points. The Serpent Pillar was able to turn his blade bright red through his raw great strength just like Muichiro did. Obanai displayed an insane amount of endurance against Muzan, as he fought for roughly an hour, while the other pillars got knocked out after half an hour. Even though he was not exhausted in the previous fight, it is still impressive, as the opponent is none other than the Demon King himself. Out of all the Demon Slayers who fought Muzan, Obanai lasted the longest. He displayed his abilities to the utmost and helped to stall Muzan until sunrise. Obanai saved Tanjiro multiple times and even used his body to protect him. He definitely played a huge part in the defeat of the Demon King, but sadly died from his injuries. In 3rd place we have the Water Pillar, Tomioka Giyu. He is as skilled as Sanemi in swordsmanship, as they had a draw in a sparring match during the pillar training arc. Giyu is heavily focused on defense, while Sanemi is heavily focused on offense. He created a new technique of water breathing that he used on Akaza, and received praise for his talent. The Upper Moon was so impressed that he offered him to become a demon, saying he had not fought a water pillar like Giyu in the last 50 years. He managed to develop the Demon Slayer mark throughout the fight, but needed the help of Tanjiro to defeat Akaza. He also managed to turn his blade bright red when clashing his sword with Sanemi's, allowing them to damage Muzan. Giyu's endurance is considerable, as he could keep up with Akaza while suffering many injuries, and then he could hold off Muzan for quite a long time. Even after losing his right arm, he fought until the end, and was the first to face Tanjiro when he became a demon. Even though it appeared that Demon King Tanjiro was invincible, he did not give up, and protected the others as much as he could. Giyu is a very powerful pillar who played a major part in defeating Upper Moon 3. He was definitely a great support in the battle against Muzan, and helped Tanjiro turn his blade bright red at the last moment. He was also the only pillar able to do something against Demon King Tanjiro. Since he had a huge fight with Akaza and Muzan, and survived both of them, I say his rank at 3rd place is well deserved. And now for the 2nd place we have the Wind Pillar, Kinuzugawa Sanemi. Sanemi's breathing proficiency was so high that he impressed Kokushibo, reminding him of the Wind Pillar from the golden age of Demon Slayers about 500 years ago. He has tremendous speed and super fast reflexes, as he was shown to be much faster than Mark Muichiro in the fight against Kokushibo. Sanemi has 2 aces up in his sleeves. His ability to control his muscles makes him able to close wounds and prevent them from opening up. This explains why his endurance is top tier, as he was able to fight Upper Moon 1 while suffering multiple injuries. And then he managed to face Muzan for a long time before getting knocked out. The other ability is his Maruchi blood, a super rare blood type with 2 different effects. His blood is mouth-watering to demons, and it makes them lose focus during battle, as they can't think of anything else but drink it. The best thing is, even smelling is enough to turn demons drunk and disorient them. Therefore, whenever Sanemi gets hurt, he gives a crippling debuff to demons. Now you understand even more why he tested Nezuko's will back in season 1 when he cut himself. Even Kokushibo and Muzan were affected by this ability, but only for a short time. Sanemi's true strength is his incredible willpower. He was so determined to kill demons that he was hunting them by himself before joining the Demon Slayer Corps. Later, during the fight against Kokushibo, he developed the Demon Slayer mark, but it was not enough as he still needed the help of Gyomei and Muichiro to land hit. And even with a boost to all his physical abilities, their assistance helped him avoid deadly attacks. Finally, he managed to turn his blade bright red by striking into Gyomei's weapon, allowing them to behead Kokushibo. Sanemi was a major actor in the fight against Super Moon 1, and managed to survive even if he had a lot of injuries. He also heavily contributed in the final fight against Muzan, and even though he got knocked out, he came back right at the end and saved Tanjiro in the most critical moment. Considering all his feats and the fact that he and Giyu are the only pillars who survived, he's definitely one of the strongest. And finally, at first place, we have the Stone Pillar, Himejima Gyomei. Gyomei is a beast, as his physical abilities are the absolute best for a human being. Kokushibo himself stated that he hadn't seen a man like him in the last 300 years. And he's not just strong, he's also extremely talented. Gyomei became a pillar in only 2 months and uses his own version of stone breathing with his unique weapon. Even though he's completely blind, he developed his other senses so much that he doesn't need to see, because his enhanced hearing allows him to fight with no disadvantage. Gyomei is also a genius, as he developed a very powerful technique called repetitive action. It is used by remembering a painful memory and allows the user to raise their concentration and draw out all the physical powers of their body. The thing is, you can combine this technique with the total concentration breathing, effectively doubling the amount of strength the user has. Pairing this with the Demon Slayer mark and the transparent world makes him extremely powerful, and yet he still needs assistance to fight Kokushibo. Add to all of this the fact that he turned his weapon bright red versus Kokushibo and Muzan, and you understand how he was dealing such huge amount of damage to them. Gyomei also has an incredible endurance, as he was able to fight Kokushibo with multiple injuries and win without tiring too much. He still had the energy to face Muzan and kept fighting even after his leg got severed. Gyomei played the biggest part in the fight against Kokushibo. Then he fought Muzan with the assistance of the other pillars before getting incapacitated. But he came back and fought until the end before dying from his injuries. Gyomei is without a doubt the strongest pillar of the organization, as his physical abilities, his breathing skills, and his power-ups were unmatched. His feats are very impressive and he deserves the rank of #1 pillar. Ultimately, I believe that every pillar complements the others. They are all unique, and that's why seeing the pillars fighting together is so cool to watch. I can't wait to see this in the anime. Don't forget to leave a comment with your opinion, whether you agree or disagree with my ranking. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more content and check out my review on Demon Slayer Season 3.